First, thank you for clicking this video. This is going to be an ongoing series that we're going to talk about tips and tricks that I have learned over Premiere Pro, Adobe Premiere Pro. These are things that I have learned using them throughout the years. I've been using Adobe for 15 plus years, and I've learned little things on my way that have made my life much easier. From the hotkey in your keyboard, customizing your keyboard with different shortcuts, the layout, tips and tricks for green screen, sound, a whole bunch of different things. And in this journey where I'm going to share everything that I have learned, I'm going to share it with you. Today, we're going to go over the layout. This is the very basic. We're not going to talk about how to edit, how to do other things. This is the very basic, the layout of Adobe Premiere Pro. If you first install Adobe Premiere or you launch it from another computer, typically it looks a certain way. And to me, that certain way it looks is just overwhelming. It's just for a way to show off all the bells and whistles that it has. And it's, in my opinion, it's unnecessary. You don't need all of that stuff. You just need the basic stuff to do some editing. And it depends what kind of editing you're doing. If it's just basic editing, something for TikTok, something for YouTube, nothing too heavy where you're not color grading, you're not sound checking and all this other stuff, this layout is going to work perfect. It's worked for me throughout many years. I've gone back to it. I've tried different layouts, but this has been my ultimate and favorite way to edit. When you first open Adobe Premiere Pro, this is how it looks. There's a lot of things that you don't need. Everything in here is useful. Everything has a use. It's not in there just to show off. It does make it look cool. It's like, oh, there's a bunch of different things you can do and whatnot. But in my opinion, it's overwhelming and you don't need it all. So you have your 4 main tabs, and in those 4 main tabs, you have some sub tabs. Right here, you have sequence, you have effects control, you have your audio mixer, you have your metadata. Over here, you have a bunch of tabs, and so on and so on. And it keeps going, same thing. You see basically 1 tab for your timeline, 1 tab for your program. If you delete something, I'm just going to show you really quick how to bring it back. So let's just delete this metadata, which is in this tab. We're going to delete metadata, close panel. It's gone. So don't freak out because you can just bring it back really easy. Just go to your window and bring in metadata, and it's right there. And let's say you don't want metadata there, you can just click and move it to wherever you want it to. So that's one thing I really love about Adobe Premiere Pro, that the layout is completely customizable. Now we're going to go down my layouts. So the things I don't need, I don't use metadata. I don't use audio clip mixer. I keep effects control. Source clip is there. Program stays. This one stays, which is timeline. Look at all these extra windows. History, we're going to get rid of history. Let's get rid of history, close panel. Markers, I use markers, but I use markers in my sequence. So I just mark a lot of things, different colors, different highlights for different reasons. I never use it this way. Effects, info, unnecessary, in my opinion. This one, unnecessary. So this is pretty much the stuff, the main things that I use. Oh, I forgot to mention over here in this corner, you have your audio levels. Important. So my project folder, we're going to move it to this side so it takes up this space. We're going to squeeze it in so it just takes up about that much room. My effects control, I bring it on the side of my program. My sequence clip, I bring it over here with my program. So now I have a split. I have my program here. I have my effects control here. My effects, I move them on this bar on the side. I'm going to squeeze in my audio levels, my toolbars right here, my sequence, my effects control, effects panel, and then my program and my source. This is how I have my layout set up. It's basic, it's simple, and it works really well, in my opinion, when you're working on a small laptop or a smaller screen. It condenses everything. You know, sometimes you don't have this big screen where you can have multiple windows, a window here, your history, your histogram, all that stuff. This is what you need. This is the main things you need to do some editing, and it can work on any size screen. We have a clip loaded, and now we're just going to do some editing just so we can get the feel for it. Let's just make a sequence really fast. So you see when you click it, when you double click the clip, it shows you right here in your program out. Also your mini one right here. And then when you go back to your sequence timeline, it switches to your program out, which works very well. I don't have to be switching tabs, or I don't have to have 2 extra tabs just for the same thing. So you can do some scrubbing through here. And then this is why I put my effects control on this side, because it can get pretty deep. There's a lot of subtabs and other tabs and audio transitions, a bunch of different things, and it can get really long. So rather than always closing it or doing the search, whatever you want to do, you can just have it open, but you have it on this long bar that you can always see it. So let's just say I'm going to add a blur effect. Let's just go to Gaussian blur. We're going to drag that into the clip, and here you go. You have your effects control right here. So as you're doing your edits on your effects, you're going to see it side by side. So you don't have to be looking from screen to screen or moving from tab to tab. It's always right here. And let's say you want to make some anchor points. We can just squeeze this in about right there. And let's just make our anchor points. Make an anchor point there. Scrub it to there. Let's go bring down the blur. And that's perfect. That's what we want for whatever reason. This is strictly example, but that's why I have this layout. And let's say I want to do some color grading. How I do it really simple is I close the effects control timeline, so I get more space, and I bring in my, where are you? Color corrections. Let's bring in Lumetri. And then now we have the Lumetri all right here. So of course, if you're gonna do some color grading, you can always click your, where is it? Window, workspace. You can hit your color editing workspace. But again, this is just the one way that I work, and it just makes me work very efficiently. I have the same thing that you can do with the color grading window. You can do it with Lumetri right here. So you can mess with your RGBs, you can mess with everything else. And as you're messing with it, you see everything happening real time. So this is my layout. This is how I've been working in Adobe Premiere Pro for many years. I've tried different things. I've tried multiple screens where I have, my program out on one screen. I have all my timeline and a bunch of different things taking up a lot of space. And I just found that I'm always looking everywhere and looking too many places. And here I feel I'm just completely comfortable looking in one space, and everything's just right there. The same editing I can do at home, I can do on my laptop, and it works perfect for me. So I recommend you trying and giving it a try. If you don't like this layout, customize it however you want. But it's really about just finding what works best for you. And I hope what I explained gives you some kind of idea. Maybe you can try different layout. Don't stick with what Adobe gives you. It's better. You can do better than what Adobe gives you. It's just too much information and too many things that you don't need. There's something that can work for you, and I hope that this helps you find it. See you next time.